Welcome to episode number 10 of Faking It. For those of you who are just joining us, Faking It is a podcast based on the notion that we're all just getting through life, experience by experience, faking it till we make it. And I'm your host, Liz Hodson. This week I talk with world traveler, web series creator, actor, and all-around busy bee, Lindsey Middleton. Here we go. Okay, well, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks
welcome
so much for having me.
Of course. This is my lovely friend, Lindsey Middleton.
Hello, everyone.
And you can go ahead and just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Cool. So my name is Lindsey Middleton. I am an actor. I am a creator. I am a travel enthusiast. I am an absolute nut. And it's
not far off.
Yeah, that's pretty accurate. I'm a wee 5'2" ginger who is just out to have a good time.
Is that in your professional bio?
Yeah.
Do you have that wee 5'2" ginger?
When people ask for
That's
it,
good.
I'm like, do you want the truth or do you want the standard just below me?
I'd love to see that you going into a casting session and they're like, oh yeah, that is a wee 5'2" ginger right there.
Well, that's how I just make my money, just being wee, apparently. That's the best way to do it.
Well, let's talk a little bit about that. What are you working on right now there's lots of things that you are working on. You're like me, got a lot of pots bubbling.
All the balls in the air.
All the balls in the air.
And I don't know how to juggle, so I'm
Me
not
either.
really sure.
Usually just bounce off my
how
head.
that
But you do
happens.
play soccer or have played soccer, so you could do a mean hacky sack, I bet.
Yeah.
So what kind of things are you doing acting-wise right now?
Acting wise, cool. So I'm acting in my own theater company's upcoming shows that we have happening this year. We have one in April, one in July, both two new works that we're really excited to produce and get off the ground. I'm also working with Davin Langell on his new project, Squadron 86.
Okay, want to give a little bit of background on who that is?
I'm really excited about it. So Davin's a really amazing producer here in Toronto, and he's produced a lot of great content that has been up for, I'm pretty sure, multiple Canadian Screen Awards at this point. And he approached me to work on this new project, Squadron 86, that I hopefully will be shooting this year. And it's kind of a space World War II meets family drama meets everything. Dun, da, da.
Space, I like that.
Space, I know so much about space.
Yeah, I mean...
miles of knowledge, galaxies of knowledge.
I was wondering for a moment, I'm like, is this just a fun fact I don't know about Lindsey? And then I was like... Oh, sarcasm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know if that's going to read on it, but most of everything I say is kind of sarcastic. So I'll try and be straight up for once.
What's your theater company's name?
It's called Theater by Committee.
Okay.
And the name came about because we are a 7-person collective and we work in a really great democracy little way. Everything is based, decisions are based as a committee.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, which
that's so valuable in an artistic community. I talked a bit about this on the last episode saying, or maybe I didn't. Actually, I'm thinking of a question that I got given by somebody for this, the showcase that I'm doing soon. And I think it was, what's the most important thing about creating or that you wish somebody would have told you? And that was... I wish I knew the importance before I started making film about having the right mix. Yeah. So that's really impressive that you guys actually, you feel that it's very equal.
Yeah, we all just work disgustingly well together. You're
paradox.
You're talking about funny bios. Someone in the crew was like, hey, instead of doing really standard bios, can we just ask each other funny questions about absolutely nothing? And one of them was, how often do you text someone else in the company? And mine was every day. I have messages from these people.
That's good. So you're also friends, which is important. So it's not like you were walking in. So you guys went to the same program?
We all went to the same university program together, which was UTM and Sheridan College. Props to them. Really enjoyed my time there.
A lot of good people come out of that program.
Yeah, we've had
I think Kate Conway from Out With Dad, exactly.
Yeah, we've had a lot of great people graduate and learn from, and it's that program in general is a great community. I find just being part of it, as soon as you meet someone else who graduated from there, you have an immediate bond.
A connection, yeah.
Yeah, because the same professors, and you all had to do the same ridiculous
projects and all that stuff
and get really into it. So you already have this built-in community, but yeah. Oh, I feel a theme brewing for me right now. I'm just going to talk about community a lot. Yeah.
For sure.
And how it's just so important. And like with Out with Dad, which you brought up, that definitely is another community that in my life is so
For sure.
important, and just being able to, again, creatively bounce ideas off people that you trust, even if you're not gonna hear exactly what you want for them. You just valuing their opinion and what they have to say.
Absolutely,
is so important.
Yeah, that was a bit of what we touched on too. I should say at this point that Lindsey is one of the main actresses in Out with Dad. So from one of our episodes, I'm not recalling what number it was, but anyways, Jason Lever, we interviewed him before.
Episode 9.
There we go. Oh, episode 9?
I think so.
I don't think so.
Oh, maybe not.
But I love you. I was episode 9.
Oh.
But I think it was like episode 5 or 6.
Oh,
that's okay. That's fine. Anyways.
Listen to episode 9 anyway, because Liz is super interesting.
So Jason actually was just talking on his episode about the community of web series.
Yeah.
And maybe if you want to, let's touch on a little bit of what's happening with Out with Dad right now. You're not just acting on it as a main lady, but let's talk a little bit about the community of web series, how you're involved with it, how you started, and then how now you are, because it's, I think, very different than how you started.
It's exploded. I think when Out with Dad first, which was, I was 18 when I was cast in the show. It was 2009.
That's so bananas to me.
I know.
That I've known you since you're 18.
Yeah, I know.
That's so weird.
And I look the exact same. I'm still a wee ginger. Like, nothing.
Don't worry. That means longevity, my friend. You got a long career ahead of you.
So funny. But yeah, so when it started, it was actually the first thing I'd ever done on film. It was one of my first film auditions.
Really?
Yeah.
Shit, I didn't know that.
Yeah, because I was in first year university and I had come from my teeny tiny farm town, and hilariously, my teeny tiny 400 person high school had a brilliant theater program. So that's how I kind of got into acting. We had a great community theater in Niagara, but after I moved to the city, I really wanted to focus more on film and TV acting because it's not really accessible in Niagara at all. So I remember going to the audition. It was one of my first auditions for film, and
you're like an independent at this point, you weren't represented or anything.
I was just a wee little baby trying to
found
figure
it
out
somewhere online.
Yeah, how to even get to Queen and Spadina. I was what
I
is
actually
this?
walked past you that day.
Really?
Yeah, I was leaving the place that they were going to be. Either that was the day you went to go audition, or it was the day the reading or the callback. But I had known who you were, and I think I remember passing you at Queen and Spadina and smiling at you, and you saw me, and then because in my brain I was like, oh, that's Lindsey, she's coming back for this thing, because I was involved with the back end of Out with Dad before we started, and then I was like, oh wait, she doesn't know who I am, but I know who you. And then you kind of looked at me like, oh my god, who is that? Yeah. And then you just sort of rushed and you went right into the building. I'm like, oh, she must be coming for a callback. So I actually do remember that. That's funny.
That's so funny. Yeah, I was probably like, who is this person and why are they looking at me? Which is still my
how
feelings
you react
when I'm on any sort of transport or walking in the city of Toronto,
because you can't take the girl, the small town girl, right out of you that easy.
It's just the weirdest. This city is so weird. It's such a weird freaking city.
People just come up to you and
yeah,
and then you kind of come into that being on a web series that really took off. So what was that like, being not pushed, but you were really thrown into a world that all of a sudden you're on this new kind of thing that got a lot of traction? So what was it like in the beginning to be on the web series once you got the part?
It was pretty surreal. I remember Jason calling me and being like, hey, I remember the phone call. I remember exactly where I was in my dorm room. And he was like, yo, you got the part. And I was like, great, let's do this. I have no idea what I'm doing. I remember the first day on set when he was filming on a DSLR Canon, and everyone was like, what? I thought this was a film set. This is a camera.
Who does this?
Yeah, which now everyone in web series does, because A, for guerrilla filming, it's great, and B, they're just great quality cameras and great totally. Shots out of them. So yeah, we shot season 1, and then I remember having the release party, and we all went over to Jason's house and he put it up on the projector, and we watched, I don't know how many episodes we watched. Maybe we watched them all. I don't really remember. But I remember after we were done, we kind of checked in on the views, and we were already at 1,000 views in the first 2 hours. And I was kind of like, oh, that's crazy that that many people very quickly are watching this show, which I kind of never expected anything, which is, I always say, go in with no expectations, and then you can't be disappointed. So I expected absolutely nothing, and I got everything and more out of it. because after that we shot season 2. We got to go to New York.
Yeah.
You and I went to oh my gosh,
did.
that was such a great trip.
Yeah,
Went
that
to
was a
New
great
York.
trip.
I've got to go to LA. I've got to go to Las Vegas. We filmed season 2, 3, and then season 3, I think, where everything really changed for me as just like growing up and realizing like further on what I'm interested in doing in life and not just having this one idea of being this actor and all that jazz, and how that's so just not a reality. It's because the way the story was going, Jason was like, I can't really have your character in season 3. Like, it just doesn't make sense. And I was like, I totally understand. Like, you've given me so much.
Just the way
like,
the story goes. It wasn't anything with
story.
you, but
I'm like, let me know what I can do. And then I remember like maybe a month later on Facebook, he just shot me a message and was like, so I really want to keep working with you. So I just wrote a whole other spinoff like for your character. Hope you're down.
Hope
and
that's okay.
You have to do some like crazy stuff in it. Hope you're into it. I thought you would be. I was like, okay, good. Like, sign me up. I'll be there. And then it was called Vanessa's Story. And
that's your character, Vanessa.
Yeah. Vanessa LeMay. And through that, he was very busy with Dad, and I was kind of like, hey, give me tasks that can be done, which resulted in me like fully doing like locations and casting and basically like producing
stuff.
Yeah, this show, which was so.
Did you think you had like a knack or want to do that ever, or?
I'm just a really bossy person, so
I don't think that's true. I think you're organized and efficient, but anyways.
Yes, those things.
Maybe we're just both bossy, and I just think, oh yeah, Lindsay's just perfect.
We're just
that
similar, so we're just so good at telling people like, I need you here at this time. Don't be late. Yeah, I guess so. Like I've always, I don't know, had a knack for juggling a lot of things at the same time, which is kind of what producing is. It's problem solving and making sure all the balls stay up all in the air.
Balls,
yeah. Make sure you juggle while running a marathon.
Yeah.
That's producing. And yeah, I don't think I even realized I was doing it because I was just having so much fun. And I remember one day when all the casting submissions came in for it, and I had like 400 headshots to go to. And it was during like final exams of my 4th year. Like, I was very stressed out. And my buddy was like, are you okay? And I was like, I don't know how to describe this feeling because I'm having the best time doing my job, but I've never been so stressed in my entire life. Like, it's the happiest stress ever. And I was very fulfilled. And so we did the show. And season 3 did really well, and Vanessa's Story also did really well, and I ended up getting to go to Vegas for that, to go to the International Academy of Web Television Awards, which was just the most surreal experience because I'd also just come off this, I don't even know how many months, like
whirlwind of like
5 months backpacking tour, and then got home, and my mom was like, you need to go to Vegas for this award show, and I was like, I have $100 in my bank account. And she was like, I don't care. I'll buy your ticket. Pay me back in a month. And I was like, great, no problem. So yeah, I went. And it was a great experience.
And that was so to cool. honor Out with Dad. That was
Out with Dad and Vanessa's Story. Yeah, so it was really great. So now here we are, season 4, in this big, beautiful community. And you'd also mentioned that this community, I feel like, has just grown over these past like 6-7 years that we've been doing this. And I've just watched it expand to so many people because it's so accessible. It's such a rewarding medium to be able to just pick up a camera and be like, I want to create something. And you can play whatever role you want to play. If you want to act, if you want to edit, if you want to write, and it's such a great community, and everyone,
lots of people who are willing to help.
Oh my gosh, like I've started working on my own series now, and the amount of people I've been like, I don't know how to make a graphic, I don't know how to make a sound not bad, like, and just the willingness for people to jump in and be like, oh yeah, do this, I'll help you. It's just
pretty exhilarating. Did you find that in your theater program that you actually, like, a lot of people were that willing to help or to be genuine, or is this exclusive to the web series community?
I think there is a huge element of that in the theater community at large in Toronto. It is a very helpful, loving, compassionate community. I don't think it's as strong, and maybe it's because in a way a web series might be seen as like the new medium or the underdogs, and no one knows what the heck is going on, so we're all just like struggling through together. But I think it is unique and special what the Toronto, like, not even just the Toronto, because I've met people internationally who are just as lovely, and we're all just out to do the same thing. It's just create and forget about the barriers that are being imposed on us.
Yeah.
Of we don't look a certain way, or a woman director. Like, what is that? I know, it's so weird. Oh my God, you have no idea. It's so weird. Like, it's not real.
She's not supposed to tell us what to do.
I know. What?
What's that lady doing?
It's a girl.
It's a woman.
Why isn't she wearing a dress? I'm really confused.
Oh my goodness, she has slacks on.
Oh my God. Like, my anxiety is through the roof. No, but like, I think that's a big part of this community, of just really breaking barriers and producing content that is not seen on the mainstream.
Totally.
And that I think is a big reason why Out With Dad had the success that it is having and has had.
Yeah, I think
it
so.
hit a niche market that was not represented
very little.
Yeah,
but in a way too, where I think what Jason had touched on in his episode was about being able to maintain the story he wanted to tell, instead of it being in a way bastardized when sold to a network or given to something, or he's completely like out of control that way. He really just, I believe, as a visionary, saw these things that were missing, saw these things that were either an injustice or things that he disagreed with, and in a very logical, like, a non-religious view of a certain kind of people. And wanted to make a story about it, and then didn't sell it to somebody and give it away, and created something really, I think, honest and obviously what was missing. I mean, it's a balloon. It's just growing. So,
and I think like the flock of people that follow the show and are absolutely enraptured in it and like, obsessed at times with it just speak to how like important it was to have that content in the world and how it wasn't. And I'm really proud that I'm part of the show. And now as a producer for season 4 and a bit in season 3, it's even, you just have so much more invested in it than just being
for sure
an actor who's like, these are my lines, this is what I say, I feel this, and then you go home, where you're just so much, you're creating your own thing. It is your baby. Like, it becomes, I'm like the cool aunt of Out With Dad now. It's great.
What I think is cool too is that when you're reading all the comments or the feedback that you get from people who are interacting and watching and engaging in the Out With Dad community or the web series community, is that like you've helped to make something even in a small way. So like you're one of the faces of it, but even being somebody like myself who was on set doing some small things or doing whatever, it's like really rewarding to read what people's experiences are, and how many people said, oh, I used this series to show my parents, or to come out to my parents, or to like, open this conversation with my children, or to like, it's just like, what? Like, we just made this, and then people benefited from it. And I love that. It has the same power to me that like a documentary has. Yeah. Like, I loved that power of making documentaries in the past, that you bring this thing to somebody, and then like Out With That as a fiction did that, which was so cool. It's really awesome to be a part of that.
I'm really happy we got
you
to
should be
work on it and we have so much fun too.
Totally. Like, Out With Dad's like crew and cast is just a blast.
It's all the good people in one room. I don't know
is
how we all found each other, but we're like, you look like you're fun and hardworking. Let's hang out.
Let's do stuff.
Yeah.
So how does that sort of translate into your series that you've started making?
So basically, my best friend and I, Cornelia, we went away backpacking last November to March. Oh my gosh, so fun.
That's a big...
it was amazing.
It's a big time.
And we only got into 2 arguments, which is even more...
Even really?
Yeah.
Like, even with just... like exhaustion and travel and stuff? That's very surprising.
Yeah, and we were, when they happened, like, we were, like, exhausted. We had slept in an airport. It was, both of them were near the end. We had slept in an airport overnight in New Zealand, but they wouldn't let us sleep. They would come around and wake you up. They're like, this is not a hotel. And I was like, this is New Zealand. You're supposed to be so nice. Why are you waking me up? So, yeah, it was it was the end of the trip. We were, like, 3 months in, and we hadn't slept. So that's where... Anywho, that's what it's not about. It's about happiness. So yeah, we went on this.
I have this web series. It's about sleeping in airports.
It's about when you're so tired and you're backpacking and you're like, why am I doing this? Yeah. So my best friend and I went on a trip to Southeast Asia, Australia, and New Zealand, and we had done a trip together I think it was 2 years prior, and we did the UK. We did the most ridiculous. We did Dublin, Edinburgh, and London in a week. We were like, yeah, this...
Did you see anything besides green stuff and like flash?
We actually saw a lot. We just didn't
good.
sleep at all because that's how I also travel, is just go.
Fair.
And we really got along, but we both had said to each other that we kind of missed... Like, you kind of feel like you're in limbo a bit when you're traveling. And I'm not a fan of that feeling. A lot of people go and travel and look for that.
In what way? Like limbo as in that, like, you've left your life and then you've left your life
and you're
so you don't
free
have the responsibilities
and everything is just day to day and you can do whatever you want. But that was actually hard for me of like, but there's so much that I have at home that I'm excited to return to and work on and create.
My to-do list.
Like I really do
trouble
enjoy
letting
those
go
things.
of it. Yeah, me too. Yeah, totally. So when we don't have the schedule, you're sort of like, wait, I can do like anything today?
Yeah.
It's a weird thing, right?
And just like being a creative person, being like, well, how, like, what's going to be my outlet while I'm traveling? Like, if I'm not going to be performing in any way or creating something, like, I really struggled with that when I went away with her before. So we had kind of been chatting and she was like, well, what if we like just like film something while we go on our 4-month trip? And I was like, yeah, like, what do you want to do? And I give her full credit. It was her idea. She said, why don't we go and speak to women all over the world about what makes them happy? And I was like, brilliant. I love it. So we got a little tiny $100 pocket microphone and we did some research and found out Cornelia wanted a new phone anyway. I think she had like an old BlackBerry or something like really archaic.
Oh, a BlackBerry.
Oh, what is that?
Oh, also has a BlackBerry.
Oh, I don't even know what a BlackBerry is.
It's a BlackBerry.
So we did some research and found out the iPhone 6 was brilliant camera quality. And so we got one and that's what we filmed on.
Really?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Surprises a lot of people because the shots are pretty
good.
Pretty.
Yeah, pretty pretty.
Yeah. So it's all on an iPhone 6 and this little dinky little pocket microphone. And yeah, we just set off and we were very timid in the beginning. We have more interviews as you get farther into the series because we were kind of little scared babies to just go up to strangers and be like,
oh, I think about doing that all the time, but I don't want to do it. What makes you happy? They're like, fuck you. Like, who knows if that's, you know?
Yeah.
You are also coming from Toronto, which is like
that's
not so friendly.
That's a big thing I learned traveling is just how I noticed it right away because we did Asia and everyone's so friendly there and you just want to be everyone's friend. Australia was very kind. New Zealand was very kind. And then I went back to England and I immediately was like, oh my God, no one looks you in the eye when you're walking down the street. And then I came back to Toronto and I was like, oh my God, no one looks you in the eye.
Like
and
metropolitan kind of thing
and there's
going
just
on.
this hustle. And I was like, oh, like, I do love my home. I love Toronto. I actually genuinely think it is the best city in the world. I love it. I love this country.
I agree.
I'm so thankful. And traveling has given me that like tenfold. But yeah, there is this vibe of just like seclusion where everyone was so open to you when you were an outsider there. And I don't feel that in the city because you don't know what door you're opening. And there's just too many that you don't want to be opened in Toronto. You're like, I don't want to like be yelled at or like just so you don't. But yeah, we went away and we had our little mic and our little camera and we just interviewed women. And then when we came home, we actually had originally thought while we were traveling we were going to make a documentary of our trip and like a little movie in a way, but I don't really know that world. And I remember talking to you about it a bit.
Yeah, I do remember this actually.
When I first got back and I was like, what do we do? Like, how do we do it? And we both kind of like just couldn't get the ball rolling, just like couldn't get anything in motion. And I think it was because I just didn't know how, like I had no insight on this world at all. And then I don't know when it changed, but all of a sudden I was like, well, what if we just make it a web series? Because I understand that world and I know there are so many people that would be willing to get on board with us and just make it what it is. And so, yeah, it kind of came from that. Even better part of the story is a girl we met while we were traveling on like day 10 is our editor of the show.
Cool.
She actually lives in New Zealand.
Okay. And I bet the footage you're able to send it easily.
Yeah,
because
we
it's
just
not
send it
huge.
through Google Drive and she edits it and sends it back to us.
Cool.
And we give our notes. And so it's like an international, all-female little team we have rocking. And our editor just moved to Vancouver, actually. She was like, I'm inspired by you girls and I want to do like a Canadian visa and like go see another part of the world. So yeah, she's here now, which is really, really great. And she'll be in Toronto in 2017. So we'll all be together, which is so wild.
Gotta do something with that. Yeah.
Well, yeah, we're currently planning like what do we want to do for season 2. And we're like, should we go away again or should we do like across Canada and like go get her really and like bring her back?
Yeah, that'd be
really
great.
Cool. Yeah,
and especially to East Coast and like there's just so much to see. I think
I've never gone to the West Coast either. I know. I want to.
You would love it.
I know. That's what everyone says. They're like, what?
I feel like you would probably want to be there.
I know.
Live there.
I toy with it sometimes. I'm like, Vancouver looks so pretty and pricey. Like, let's move from the second most expensive city to the first. Like, what a good choice. But yeah, so the show itself is about just finding out what makes people happy. And we specifically wanted to feature women because we felt that women are very underrepresented in the media and their stories are not told. And especially women of all different shapes and sizes and backgrounds and cultures, like even more underrepresented. So we were
that little thing called diversity.
Yeah. Who knows what that topic is? No one talks about that. Like, what? So we really wanted to just go and make something also different. We had seen the show Departures, which is on Netflix, and we were kind of, but with more heart is what we were really going for. Is we really wanted to get into people's stories and just meet people. And it is that thing when you're traveling, you do meet so many people, and some people really stick with you. And which was even more rewarding about this project is when we would meet people, it was a lot of the time people you wouldn't ever find yourself interacting with even while you were traveling. Like one time we were interviewing someone and the custodian of the hostel we were staying in was like, what are you girls doing? And we were like, oh, we should interview you. But like you don't normally think, like you think of other travelers, but even in like you wouldn't go up to your hotel maid and be like, hey, want to have a chat about what makes you happy?
Yeah.
Like you don't do that on a day-to-day basis. So that project was even more rewarding for us because it made us reach out to people you wouldn't normally interact with and form bonds with them and connections and get their perspectives that are so different than ours. And yeah, it was really rewarding. So yeah, we're pumping out episodes. We're starting new segments this month. We're going to do every other Wednesday. We're going to do Wanderlust Wednesdays and Women Crush Wednesdays, which I'm super excited
I watched
about.
that little video of you guys announcing that, and I think that's great. Yeah. It's like a project you did before. You've done like a lady love a couple of years ago or something like that.
That was, I don't remember what year it was, maybe 2013 or 14. Yeah. That was my New Year's resolution, was to every day
to celebrate a lady.
It wasn't,
or
it was
just a person.
Yeah, just a person in my life. I had lost someone in my life, and I just realized how lucky I was that I felt I had said everything I needed to say to them. And then I kind of thought about, well, what would happen if I didn't have the chance to just tell someone how much I appreciate them and what they've done for me in my life at this point. So that's kind of where the resolution came from. So for 365 days, I gave a little Facebook shout out about something great about them and what they probably don't know about why I respect them or things like that. And it was really fun. It was fun for me to.
That's very cool. I think that you do celebrate people quite a bit, and I think that you're somebody who. You probably don't notice that, but I think that you are somebody who, even if it's not like a post or that you're doing something with a film or whatever, that you do appreciate people a lot, I think.
Oh, that's
from
good.
What I see. So just so you know, you're a humble lady.
I try to appreciate people because I'd be nowhere without them. Talking about faking it.
I'm the
queen. I just appreciate people. Or someone said this so long ago. I'm totally stealing this from someone. I don't know who said it, but they call it sweat dollars. So you can't necessarily pay someone for their talent or skill or picking their brain on their knowledge, but you just pay them back in like hard work and like in good faith of like, oh, it's
sweat
if you need me to move ya, like call me and I'll move ya. Or like if you need me to like take your dog for a walk, like I would gladly take anyone's dog for a walk. I really have like dog fever.
You're like, I have dog fever.
A lot of my friends have baby fever, and I'm like, no, I have dog. Like I want
not
a
there
pug.
Yet.
Just get me a pug. But I
Sweat
can't
dollars
have one.
that's a very cool idea. It does conjure up an idea that more for me that like about the sex industry, but
that's I didn't think about that.
I was like, sweat dollars.
That's not part of my
oh dear,
sweat dollar.
you're like, not my kind of sweat
my
dollar.
tick boxes. Like, I'll move ya, or I'll like
I'll help you. I'll inspire you.
Yeah, we can have a chat. Have a lunch. I'll make you
Anything.
some good shrimp tacos.
Wow, that sounds amazing.
Oh, my
I'm gonna write down
favorite.
shrimp
My
tacos to
favorite
make.
thing to eat.
It's so good.
Yeah.
So in that way though, like everything that you've taken on, you've got like walking into an audition that, you know, you didn't even have any real reference point for, coming from like a very theater background. You've got like the web series kind of community that you were swept up by. You're producing, you're doing all this stuff now theater wise, you're making your own web series. Like you got a lot of things happening, like we said. But do you find that you ever in an artistic way or in like your life that when you're trying to do something, you're like, I'm not so sure if I can complete this, but I think there's some sort of whisper in me that tells me that I'm like capable of it. Do you find that
All the time.
you're faking a little bit?
All the time. It's like, well, who am I in any, like, to anyone? Like, I'm like, but my aunt, I love her. Shout out. Hey, she once said to me very offhandedly, well, just ask. The worst thing someone's going to say is no. And I milk that and take that to the bank because I'm like, well, I need to reach out to this exec about like maybe having a partnership with our show. And I'm like, go through everything in my head of like, I'm so underqualified. I don't have a business degree. Like I know absolutely nothing about like money and advertising and blah, blah, blah. And then I'm like, well, the worst thing you're going to say is no. Like, so who cares? You might as well try, and you never know what's going to land. Like that's definitely where we're in the realm of Happy Her right now, of just reaching out to people and kind of seeing like
taking a chance,
what sticks, like what's going to happen. And I try and encourage everyone to do that. And more importantly, just do what makes you actually happy, which is like a big element of the show, but also something I always try and live by. If you're really unhappy, I'm like, why are you doing this?
Yeah.
Like really look at what's important. And
yeah, there was a simple infographic I saw once, and it was like just lines, and all it just said is like, if you're unhappy with what you're doing, change something. And then the next thing said, if you're happy with what you're doing, keep going.
Yeah.
Like it was just, oh yeah, like it's just that simple.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's that simple in bigger ways. Sometimes people are in a way stuck with certain responsibilities, but there are ways to, you know, start a process of happiness and start a process of like, okay, well, I can't quite control that element yet, but I'm going to take better care of myself in a health way. So I can control this. So you know what, I'm going to do this kind of like exercise thing, or I'm going to take pride in this type of thing, or sleeping. I can control this. I know that's something
that was one of my New Year's resolutions.
Good. You need to,
because
honestly.
I'm a bad
sleeper. Are you up until all hours?
It's not that. It's I will say yes to everything, and then I look at my schedule and I work until 4 a.m, and I'm on a shoot at 7 a.m. So I'm like, well, that was 3 hours. Then I have to go back to work, and I have to be at my job at 8. So I'm like, so I slept
try to work
7 hours all weekend. Yeah, it's that's where I'm getting at a point now in my life, is really like fine tuning exactly what is important to me.
Okay, so this is something I've been thinking. It's so hard. But this is what I've been thinking about lately, which is that people, like, balance truly is the like holy grail. Okay. Yeah. Because you have either that you're like super taking care of yourself, you're sleeping all the time, you're, you know, going to this job that you hate, but you've got great sleep because you're kind of depressed, but you're sleeping like an awesome champion. And maybe you're working out a bit, you feel, you know, you're pretty good, you're in a good shape that way, but then it flips. And all of a sudden you're working like a dog because you want to be, you're so happy with like the things that you've got going on, your accomplishments, your projects, all this stuff. But then you let the other stuff slip. Yeah. And all of a sudden you're not sleeping very much. But then like it's that so fine tuning thing is so, I find that it's like a consistent just wavering ebb and flow. And then as soon as you just, there's like these things that just start to happen with like the building blocks of like, okay, exercising every day. Okay, got that going. The projects are still happening, trying to fit things in properly. Oh, I got 8 hours of sleep last night. That's awesome. You just slowly but surely, I feel like you start winning that race.
Yeah.
It's about those fine-tuning moments.
We'll see. Like, I'm definitely faking it in every sense of that regard, because a lot of people will say to me, like, wow, you do a lot. And I'm like, I do.
Yes, I do.
I do a lot. That is true. I think a lot of people are like, whoa, you must be so fulfilled. Your life is so full of all these great things. And I'm like, it is. But there are many days where I'm like, I'm not into this today. Like, there's too much going on. Like, I wish I could just like watch Netflix all day.
Want to hide, yeah.
Yeah, because it does get overwhelming. And then you look back a year later and you're like, oh, wow, I did all those things. And that's great. And I'm really proud of myself. But I think about like the mindset I was in, and I was like, I was exhausted.
Yeah.
So so
is it worth the checks off?
That's
like
the thing.
checking
I know.
off?
And that
is
for
it worth
me,
going, this scroll of things is done? But
I think up until this point, I was very much like, I'm all about the ticks. I'm all about like, look what I've done. And
all about the ticks.
all about the ticks. Like, I was a straight A student. Like, I was on like the dean's list in university. Like, I've graduated. Like, look at how successful I'm doing, and whatever success is. And I think that's the important thing, is now looking back and being like, okay, what does success actually mean to you? And I think it's important to also realize that that can change. That what I thought success was when I was 12 or 18 isn't what I think it is when I'm 25. Like, getting 7 hours of sleep a night, I'm like, that's success now, of like waking up and being like, I am mentally and physically and emotionally happy at the beginning of my day, and now like, let's go attack it. Like, that's so, and like eating well has become like a really important part of my life.
Yeah.
Of like, I've cut out refined sugars, and I've cut out like poisons that are in your food. Like, I become a label reader.
I'm actively just cutting out the poison. I'm on this new diet. It's called Cut the Poison.
No more poisonous things. But yeah, just finding.
But that's the fine tuning.
Yeah.
And if you can keep those things going, you develop it. And then hopefully, like, maybe other things are, not working, but then they will be, because you've got this thing. That's what I think. It's just like, it's not all going to happen at once.
No.
I used to think like it just would. Yeah. I used to just think that like I made the choice to do these 7 things, and they're all going to work in a line. But they really don't.
No.
But they will. I have faith that they will,
Just not, and that's the thing, is I definitely am a very impatient person. I think a lot of people patient people are saints. Like, I meet patient people and I'm like, how? Like, what? How does your body not just like immediately be like, I need this, like, right now. I need this.
Patient in what way? What do you think?
Like, patient in life, that everything is just like gonna fall into place, but also just patient in the moment. Like, I'm such a like, I sent this email, why haven't I heard? Like, what? And that will really...
It's not the instant...
Yeah.
Yeah,
the instant gratification. I'm a millennial, blah, blah, blah. I don't buy into that, everyone. Psychiatrists, psychologists, whoever says it.
There's this paper, like newspaper magazine, like online lifestyle magazine that I work with called The Plaid Zebra. And do you know of it? Yeah. So I work with them a little bit, and they're doing this podcast. It's going to come out. It's going to be fantastic. They did like a live talk, and the title of the title of that episode, first thing was based on an article somebody at the magazine had written, and it's, are millennials pieces of shit or saviors of the universe?
That's
or
amazing.
Or saviors or something like that. And it's true, because you're like, there is that power of like how much we can do, how much we can multitask, how much there are good things, and then it's also like there are pieces of shit things too, like the instantaneous, like, expectation or the need to just be connected. There's all this shit. But I mean, at the end of the day, it could go either way. But I feel like that's like for any generation. They talk about that like, Generation X was this way, or, different people. It's like, yeah, exactly. It's all the same. Just that they're like, everybody's on their cell phones while driving. P.S. I see a lot of 50-year-olds on their cell phones while driving, so don't pigeonhole us.
Yeah.
Ageism. Yeah, really. It can go both ways. So in your like adventure sort of, I think you have a little bit of an adventure.
I sure do. That makes me very happy. As soon as you say it, I'm like,
you just got all like happy and flushed there.
Yeah.
I think that you do definitely. I know for sure. I was just like in New York with you for like a weekend, and we had an amazing time. So I've always just been like, I kind of want to travel the world with Lindsey a little bit.
Yeah.
Because you do have such a positive outlook on stuff, and that but you also really just like have this zest for like, I want to like discover. Like, you just seem like you're just on this track to just to experience, which is so cool, and I love that about you. And in that, I think that you've also kind of met somebody in your travels. And
I sure
if you want to talk a little bit about your super, super long distance relationship.
Yeah.
About your beau, with your beau.
My lovely beau. So we actually met here in Canada. He was over here traveling, and we met at a bar, of all the places you meet. And we met through people we knew, and we ended up seeing each other multiple times that week. And I was kind of just like not in a headspace of think anything of this, because he doesn't live here, so that's not a real life thing. And then he flew back home after we went on a date. I feel like he's one of the first guys who's ever been like, do you want to go on a date with me? And or maybe I just forgotten the rest because they don't matter.
It doesn't matter now.
Because that date was great. And then, we just kept talking through Skype because he lives across the other side of the world. And we just kept talking, and then I was like, oh, this is going better than I thought it would. And then Valentine's Day happened. Can we get really mushy for a second?
Here we go, guys.
Oh God, we're getting really mushy.
Cue some Barry White.
I never talk about like personal stuff.
Okay,
but
well,
I
will.
We go. I know. I'm like, yeah, let's do it. So I woke up on the morning of Valentine's Day, and I had a voicemail from this florist who was like, I'm outside your house. I can't find the door. Like, I have something. Like, they were mad. And I was like, I'm very confused why they're calling me. Didn't clue in anything. So then I called him back, and I get this beautiful bouquet of my favorite flowers, which I have had a couple boyfriends in the past, but no boyfriend has ever gotten me my favorite flowers until this guy. I'm like,
wow, from across the world.
Someone's listening. So I got these flowers, and I had Valentine's Day apart. And 2 days later, I got sent a photo of a plane ticket from him. And he said, I didn't really like Valentine's Day, so I'm coming to visit you. Which is really cute. Really good move also.
Good move.
Yeah, very sly move. And then he flew here, which, unlucky for him, was Easter weekend, and didn't realize I was going home to see my entire family. So he got to meet them all.
Just jump right on in there.
Yeah, jumped right into that pond. But
That's the right way to do it.
We were pretty smitten at that point.
The Middletons, I mean.
Yeah, they're pretty kind.
They're probably the awesomest.
They're pretty good. Like, we had an Easter egg hunt and everything.
Nice.
So, yeah, we get really into it. I'm really excited for Easter. Oh my gosh, I can't wait.
You mentioned that. I'm so excited for Easter. I'm like,
I love family holidays.
20+ year. Oh, me too. Totally. Yeah. Whenever it is. But I kind of got the idea that you might be into Easter because you do an Easter egg hunt.
We do.
I knew it.
We still do. I'm 25. My brother is 27, and we still do an Easter egg hunt.
Going for it.
Because someone had a baby, and she's 4 or 3, so we still keep doing the fun. But I love it. I'm into it.
Good.
But yeah, so me and my beau have been doing this long distance thing for 2 years now.
And he's in Europe right now, right?
Yeah, he lives in the UK. And we kind of just started having this transatlantic relationship where we'd fly back and forth. But it really makes you appreciate a person when you get to actually spend time with them and be with them. And we kind of did like math on a lot of our friends' relationships about how they would see their girlfriend or boyfriend twice a week. And we kind of did the math, and in that same 2-month period, if they were seeing someone twice a week, well, we see each other for 2 to 3 weeks straight, but like every 2 months. And so I was like we actually see each other just as much as the normal couple does. But
need some validation math going in
there. Like we were like, we're not that crazy. And it's been nice because I've met actually a lot of other people, way more people than I thought, when I say like, oh yeah, I'm in long distance. They're like, yeah, I did that too, and it worked out so great. And
that's nice, because usually that's not what you hear.
No, it's not at all. And a good friend of mine in a very similar position, and they're getting married, like just like craziness. They just moved and did all that jazz, and I'm like, well, hey, let's just rock it and see what happens.
Totally. So, you've been together for quite a long time with your beau for this long distance, you know? How long have you been together?
We're about 2 years, or over 2 years right now. We celebrated our 2nd year anniversary in New York.
So where was your first anniversary?
We went to a elephant sanctuary in Thailand.
Whoa, what was that like?
Amazing.
Wow.
Really cool experience. We got to like
Cool.
bathe them and feed them and get to know all. Yeah, and they're so intimidating. Like they're huge. Like I was actually scared.
Because even the babies are quite large.
Oh yeah, they're like taller than you.
Yeah.
Like I was gonna say taller than me. I'm like that.
You're like,
means
of course
nothing.
they're taller than you.
Everything in the world is taller than me. So let's talk about a normal person's height and compare it to them. So we did that, and then we just had our 2nd year anniversary, which was in New York City.
Oh, beautiful.
Which was really,
Congrats. That sounds great.
Yeah, thanks. It was really fun. So who knows? Actually, our 3rd year will probably be somewhere in South America because we're looking at going there. He's hoping to go work down there, and I'll just come visit and soak up the sun.
Oh,
and the
yeah.
glory.
How nice.
Yeah.
And he's planning to come here for a bit, right? You guys are actually going to be able to live
We're
together?
going to live in the same home soon.
Strange.
We're going to fake it till we make it.
There you go.
And that's the theme of let's just, but like.
Go into it.
Who cares also? So many people are like, aren't you nervous? And I'm like, haven't you ever had like taken a risk in life? Like, the worst thing that happens is like we break up and that will suck. And then like we will deal with life. Like what if we don't do it and then you never get to
Yeah, you want to actually try to be together. That's so silly.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta do it.
So it's funny how many people most people though have been very like supportive and like, yeah, do it.
Oh yeah.
They also meet him and they're like, he's funny. Keep him. And I'm like,
keep that guy.
No. So yeah, he's moving here in the end or August. He's moving here. So yeah, the countdown is very much
I can't wait to meet him.
Yeah, you'll have to.
I will.
Yeah, because he'll live here, so you'll physically have to.
You'll have to
be in the city. You'll probably run into him on the street at
Probably.
Queen and Spadina and look at him, smile at him, and
he'll
go,
be like,
"I know you."
Who is that
and he'll
person?
be like, "I have no idea who this girl is."
It will happen again. It'll come full circle.
Yeah.
Well, I want to thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks so much for having me.
It's been so fun. And please, everybody, check out Happy Her. Yeah. And how can we find Happy Her?
You can find everything to do with it at www.happyhertheseries.com.
Happyhertheseries.com.
Yes.
Cool. And what about the Community Theater Project?
Yeah. So our company is called Theater by Committee. You can find us. That's okay. No worries. At www.theaterbycommittee.com.
Wow, straightforward.
We make it really easy.
Make
for
it so
people.
easy.
I'm going to throw a curveball with this one.
Okay, let's hear it.
So if you care at all about anything I have to say, or think I'm mildly interesting in any way, or want to just look at a lot of photos of my face, you can go to my personal website, which is www.lindseymiddleton.ca.
Whoa, you threw a CA in there.
We wanted to stay Canadian.
We can't handle
with
it.
I wanted people to know I'm a proud Canadian.
Good. Well, we thank you very much, and good luck with everything.
Good luck to you.
All right. Thank you, Lindsay.
Love you, girl.
Love you too.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks to Lindsay for coming on and sharing her experiences with us. Please go and check her out, guys. It's well worth it. Remember to subscribe to Faking It on iTunes, rate and comment through iTunes as well. That's how we're going to keep climbing up through the new and noteworthy section. Follow on Twitter at Faking It Podcast for all the goods. Thanks, and until next time.